Lisa. Today we're going to be talking about body, mind, spirit. We've talked about spirit here a few of our episodes back, and today we're going to elaborate a little bit more on spirit, but we're also going to be incorporating body and mind in there. Why is it important to be focused on your body, mind, and spirit? We'll start with body.
When you are focused on your body, first of all, as we often talk about, we were created in the image of God, and now we are the temple of God. And so, with that being said, then you naturally need to take care of the temple. You need to make sure that you're taking care of your body. But you also need to take care of your body because your body is not going to last forever. Our bodies is aging, our bodies is wearing down, and we are going to take care of our body for the longevity. So therefore, we're going to be stretching. It's so important that you stretch. We're going to be exercising, and I think it's going to be in June. We're going to take this journey together to where we're stretching and we're exercising. And no, actually, it's May. But it's important because you need to stretch out those muscles. You need to stretch out your tendons. You need to just move your body, get your body moving to where you can make sure that you're maintaining your health. I tell people all the time, it doesn't really matter what you do or how you start. It matters what you do, but it doesn't matter how you start. The goal is for you just to get started. And for you to get started, you need to get your body moving, whether you're walking, whether you're cycling, whether you're using the elliptical. Now, I like using the elliptical. And so later on today, I'll be on that elliptical. But I also like being out walking in the fresh air and getting vitamin D. So vitamin D is so important as well. So when I talk about body, you need to stretch it, you need to exercise it, but you also need to give it the nutrients that it needs. You need to make sure that you're getting vitamin D, vitamin C, that you're getting all of your vitamins to help maintain your body in good health. And so, there's some things that's going to just happen naturally, but as much as you can, you need to make sure that you're doing the things to maintain this body, because guess what? You only get one body. And this body is your transportation here on this level of consciousness. This is how we get from point A to point B. So we really, really need to take care of the body. So now that we've talked about body, let's talk about mind. It's so important that you take care of the mind. People don't realize that when you're not taking care of the mind, you become more forgetful. You need intelligent conversation. And so I tell people all the time, you need to take care of the mind. Taking care of the mind also includes what you're putting into your mouth, what you're eating, what you're drinking. That takes care of the mind as well, because some of the things that we eat, some of the things that we do can cause brain fog, and it can cause us not to be up on our A game. It can cause us not to know always what we're doing. And so with that being said, you want to exercise your mind just like you're going to exercise your body. You want to exercise your mind as well. You want to make sure that you're reading, that you continue to learn something new. You want to do things to enhance your memory. You want to do things to enhance your intelligence, your knowledge base. So all of that should continuously be growing for the rest of your life. I tell people all the time, get into the habit of storytelling. Storytelling is one of the best things that we can do to pass on history from generation to generation, but it also helps you to remember. It also helps you to recall things from the past, happy, sad, or indifferent. It allows you to recall things from the past, and so it allows you to keep your mind active. So that's what I'm talking about when we talk about spiritual enlightenment. We talk about the spiritual empowerment, because all of these things, actually all three of these, is going to aid you in your quest for God consciousness. It's going to help you in your aid for Christ consciousness. And so when you come to realize that, because in order to be able to go to a different level of consciousness, in order for you to elevate to the next level of consciousness, look, you've got to be in good shape. You've got to be well in body, mind, and spirit. And so what do I mean by that? You know, a lot of times when you're going to do meditation and you're going to be doing different things, that takes a lot out of you, and it can consume quite a bit of your time. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're hydrated, because it's going to make it easier, because you can think better, you can concentrate, and you can just let go of things a lot easier if you are taking care of body, mind, and spirit. And so as you learn to elevate towards God consciousness, that's your spiritual side that you're taking care of. But you know, you need to be learning something spiritually. You need to be growing your spirituality. You need to be growing in your faith. Whatever it is that you believe, you need to grow your faith. You need to exercise your faith. So everything that I'm talking about on today is for you to exercise all of these things, because you actually need all three of these components for you to be able to elevate to God consciousness.
Okay, so where does say taking care of your mental health fit into this picture?
When we say body, mind, and spirit, your mental health is going to be in that mind section. And, you know, and so that's why it's important for you to, if you feel like that you have a problem or an issue in that area, it's important for you to see a doctor right away, so they can determine if it's a chemical imbalance, it's, you know, it's a medication that you're on, so they can actually determine what's going on with your mental status. You know, mental illness is a big thing, and we definitely want to make sure that we encourage people, you know, that if you're feeling strange, or if you're hearing voices, or if you have suicidal thoughts, or if you just have thoughts that's outside of the norm, we definitely want to encourage you to go get, seek some professional help. So when we talk about mind, your mental health is included in that, and it's so important that you take care of your mental health. That means that you're not letting other people abuse you verbally, emotionally, and psychologically, because you have to protect your own mental health, and all of those things will be detrimental to your mental health.
And with the body, how much exercise is I guess what I'm trying to say is a little bit enough? Is just starting to do a little bit, is that enough? Because some people have this mentality that, oh well, I can't work out because it's going to be too much. But can you just let people know that just the smallest amount, the smallest thing that you can do is something?
Okay, it's better that you do something than absolutely nothing. Something is going to bring you a different result than doing nothing. Because if you've been doing nothing all of this time, this is the result that you have. But when you start to do something, then your result is going to change. And so I tell people all the time, you don't want to push it, you don't want to overdo it. I'm not telling you to do any type of strenuous exercise without talking to your doctor first. But what I am telling you is that you can take it slow. I talked about going out into nature and going out and walking, so you can get vitamin D as well. So, you know, you can start small. I tell people, you know, if you've never done any exercise in the past 20 years, then start it out at 15 minutes, you know. In 2 weeks, move it up to 20 minutes. In 2 weeks, move it up to, in another 2 weeks, you're going to move it up to 25. And you're going to keep going up. A good range for exercise is at least about 45 minutes, but nobody expects you to go on your first day and actually exercise for 45 minutes, because number one, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be sore, you're going to overdo it, and you're going to be more likely to quit doing it. So what I tell people is take a little bit at a time, any type of movement. I tell people all the time when they say they have bad knees, they have a bad back, I tell them to do exercises lying in the bed to where you're not putting pressure on your back. You're not putting pressure. You can do the butterflies, and you can even do jumping jacks in the bed, but you're not putting that pressure on your knees. You're not putting that pressure on your back. The jumping isn't bothering you. I also tell people, if you use an elliptical, it stops you from all of that impact of your feet like hitting the ground. But you know your body, and so do something, because doing nothing, your life is going to remain the same. And that's in every aspect of your life. You've got to do something. If you want change, you have to become the change that you're seeking. If you want a healthier lifestyle, then you have to be instrumental in creating that healthier lifestyle. Do your homework, do some studying, do some research. I'm a little different because I do what works for me. And, I'm kind of like different. So what works for me may not work for anybody else, but I am going to do what works for me. And so, when I first started, I started out 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night. And then I got up to an hour, period, just an hour at one time. So before, I was still doing the hour, I just had to split it up because I couldn't do an hour at a time. I learned what to do and what not to do. If you can afford a trainer, that would be nice. But if you can't afford a trainer, you know what? There's all kind of research out there, and there's different things online that you can go on, and they'll tell you low impact exercises that you can do. All I would recommend is that you make sure with your doctor that it's okay for you to do any type of exercise. And then secondly, I would tell you to start out slow. Do it in the bed. Do things that's not going to cause impact to your back, your knees, your joints. But your joints needs lubrication, so you need that water. You need 8 hours of sleep, and you need to keep your body moving so you can have good mental, physical, psychological, and spiritual well-being.
Exactly. And even a walk is exercising. Think of something that you might enjoy doing, and that could become your exercise. Exercise shouldn't be something that you hate doing. You can do some of the things that you love, and that can be your exercise. So let's talk about how I'm sorry, I lost my place. Okay, let's talk about how inner strength relates to all of this, into the body, mind, and spirit aspect.
But first of all, in order for you to tap into your inner strength, you have to have all those other components balanced. It's hard for you to tap into your inner strength when you're not rested, you're not hydrated, you're not, because of brain fog. Because of the things that we don't do. And people don't realize how important hydration is. Now, I have a big problem with hydration because I don't like to drink. I just don't like to drink, and I don't like to stop what I'm doing and go to the bathroom. So I have to make myself drink. I have to make myself focus on hydration, but I know that that's my weak point. But when you think about all of the side effects being dehydrated can cause, then you think, okay, it's worth me reminding myself that I need to drink at least 60 ounces of water a day. And so, with that being said, if you're not feeling good, because when you don't take good care of your health, then you don't feel very well. So when you don't feel very well, it's hard for you to tap in to the inner dimension of self. It's hard for you to do anything because you're just miserable. You just really don't feel good. So that's why I stress that it's important that we take care of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit. Because a lot of times in life, we'll focus on one area and let the other area go. No, we need to focus on all of the areas, because what happens is that you need those areas intact as you elevate towards God consciousness. If you're tired, brain fog, hungry, dehydrated, frustrated and all that, it's hard for you to get to the place you need to get to in spirituality, because you're thinking about, I don't feel good, I'm tired, I'm dragging, I'm this, I'm that. And so it can hinder you in so many ways from walking in your destiny and actually getting to where you need to get to.
And what about something that you talked about before, in dealing with the mind, the negative self-talk, the stinking thinking?
Definitely, you want to make sure that you get rid of that. You know, positive affirmations is fantastic. You know, I sometimes, like when I'm having an off day, I'll go stand in front of the mirror and I'll just talk to myself. And I tell myself, I don't dwell on my mistakes. I don't dwell on how many times I've fallen. I don't dwell on what's going wrong in that day. And, you know, a lot goes wrong in my days sometimes. You know, I have ups, I have downs. Everybody does. And that's what you have to understand, is that everybody has those ups and downs. When you're having those ups and downs, you need to make sure that you're doing positive affirmations to yourself. You have to make sure that you're talking to yourself and you're saying, you know, whatever it is that you need to tell yourself. Like, if you've been down on yourself because you made some mistakes, or your business is struggling, or whatever the problem might be, you would say, you know, I'm more than a conqueror. I'm the head and not the tail. God said that that I'm an overcomer because he overcame the world. And so you start reminding yourself all the positive things. Now, when we're talking about your mental health, you talking down on yourself is bad for your mental health. Because you spend more time with yourself than anybody else on the planet. And when you talk down to yourself, your subconscious, that gets embedded in your subconscious, and you start to believe the things that you're telling yourself that you shouldn't even be telling yourself. And so it's just so important that you come to understand that it's important how you talk to yourself. It's important what you tell yourself. It's important the things you read, the things that you watch, the things that you listen to. All of that is important for your mental health. That's important for your mind, because you don't want to clog it up and fill it up with all of this negativity, because then there's no room for positive. So I tell people, everyone should practice positive affirmations in your life. And you know what? There's tons of them. You know, I like telling myself who I am in relationship to God. So all of my stuff normally is like on a spiritual level, that I'm talking to myself, because remember, this whole journey is about becoming like Christ. This whole journey is a journey to God consciousness. And so on this journey, you got to make sure that you're taking care of body, mind, and spirit, because if you don't, then you're not going to have the stamina, you're not going to have the clear mind, you're not going to have the clear mental capacity to be able to do the things that you need to do to operate on another level.
So do you think that in seeking that mindfulness as well, that a person should also seek out inner peace?
Inner peace is a must. But that comes with like the positive affirmation and all of that. All of this stuff goes hand in hand. And so you definitely want inner peace. But if you are listening to negative stuff and you're telling yourself negative stuff, it's kind of hard for you to have inner peace. Inner peace comes when you become enlightened, when you're on the spiritual journey of enlightenment. The minute that you become enlightened, the peace will come with the enlightenment. So once you become enlightened, you realize that all this stuff that's going on around you, all the things, evil things people say, all the mean, vicious things they do, no matter how good you've been to them, you come to realize that in the grand scheme of things, that don't matter. Because guess what? When you finish this journey called life, guess what? You're going to die. When they finish this journey called life, guess what? They're going to die. So the one thing that we all have in common is that we've been born. Well, the two things is we've been born and that we're going to die. Those are the two things that we have in common. Now, all of this stuff in between birth and death, you know, you've got to learn to understand that it's really not important. But once you have been enlightened, it allows you to elevate on a different level of consciousness so you can see things more clearly that's on this level of consciousness. That's why I tell people your spiritual side is so very important, because your spiritual side will help you with the other sides. And once you have that spiritual side and you are enlightened, then you're able to take care of your mental health. You're able to move forward, and you're able to have that inner peace. The inner peace comes with enlightenment, to when you understand that you were created in the image of God, and that you're going back to him, and that your purpose here on this earth, you were created by God for God, and your purpose on this earth was to become more like him each and every day. And on your way to God consciousness, it's a journey, and you have to elevate to different levels of consciousness to be able to take this journey. And once you realize that the journey that you own has absolutely nothing to do with the chaos that's going on around you, then you realize it's not important. And that's where you get your inner peace from.
And can you tell me what you mean? This is something that we've referenced before. When you say get rid of the noise.
When I say get rid of the noise, I'm talking about all of this noise. We live in a world now where everything's at your fingertip. You go in a restaurant, people is watching social media, they're texting people, they're having conversation, they're eating, they're doing all of this stuff at the same time. And so we're on overload. We're on sensory overload. You know, our senses are heightened all the time. So when I say get rid of the noise, I mean it's time for you to go somewhere, sit down, and quiet everything around you. That's like, for me, I can be in a crowd of people and it not affect me in the least little bit, because I have quieted the noise. You know, I don't hear the rustle and the tussle of everybody around me. I don't hear their opinions. I don't hear, everything that they're saying, because I have freed myself from the noise that is actually going on. And so when I say quiet the noise, I mean that it's time for you to get to a quiet place so you can think, so you can connect with your inner peace, so you can block out everything that's going on around you. Because keep in mind, that's all it is. It's just noise. You have the power to change everything that's within your life. You have the power to change everything that's within your atmosphere, but you have to quiet the noise and be able to elevate to a different level of consciousness so you can find the solution and the answer to what you need for this level of consciousness.
And so we talked also before about going beyond that 10%. Can that 10% of brain function can tap into that consciousness, being in touch with your body, mind, and spirit? Can that get us beyond that 10% to where we're functioning at a higher level?
The spiritual journey will get you to a higher functioning level. So on your journey to spiritual enlightenment, it opens up your mind to all of the things that really is there. It's so much more to life that we miss because we can't see. We have eyes, but yet we can't see. And so we miss out on a lot of things in life. And, on your way to spiritual enlightenment, once you are enlightened, then your eyes becomes open and you're able to see the things that you was not able to see before. As your mind opens up to the possibilities and the greatness of God, and that he said, greater shall we do. Once your mind opens up to all of that, it's a whole new ball game. And then you're able to operate at a higher capacity. I don't think anyone knows really how much higher of a capacity. When they do that 10%, they're just doing a general range. But there is people that actually utilizes more than the 10%.
And where does identity fall into all of this?
Identity, all of this is just like one big circle that circles back around to the other. And so your identity, when and that's another thing that will aid in you having peace, because your identity comes in where you know who you are, not based on what anybody else is saying, not based on the brainwashing, not based on what you've been told. You know who you are because that's who you are. You understand who you are and who you are becoming, because you were created and everything that you needed was put on the inside of you. So each and every day you're becoming who you already are. But you don't know that that's who you already are because you haven't been introduced to the other self. You haven't been introduced to self on a different level of consciousness. You haven't been introduced to self at a higher, greater capacity. And so, it's important, because as you take this journey, you got to know who you are. You got to know why you're taking the journey. And you've got to know something about yourself, or it becomes very difficult to take the journey. I say all the time, to thine own self be true. The reason why I say that is because you've got to be true to who you really are. But if you're having an identity crisis, you don't know who you really are, so you can't be true to that. So I tell people that as you're getting the wisdom, as you're getting the knowledge, as you're getting the training, as you're going through all of this, you definitely want to know who you are. So you might want to take some time out to introduce yourself to self. You might want to take some time out and ask yourself, who am I? And learn to operate in the greatness that's on the inside of you.
And since we're referencing what's on the inside of you, there's greatness, purpose, perseverance, power, strength, and transformation, just to name a few. Do you want to elaborate a little bit about that?
It's just so much on the inside of you. I mean, your purpose is on the inside of you. And that really, really says a lot. Your purpose, your destiny, your strength, your power. So those are the 4 words that I would, your soul. All of this is on the inside of you. But your destiny, your purpose, your power, your soul, enlightenment, all of this is on the inside of you, waiting for you to tap into it. But like I say, enlightenment is the first step, because it shows you and makes you aware of all of the other things that I'm talking about, and all the other things that it actually encompasses. So I want you to know that you're greater. Yourself on a different level of consciousness is there. So so you have to understand all of that, and you've got to be willing to take the journey. But some people don't want to take the journey because it's scary for them. It's hard. It's work. It takes a life change. It takes determination. It takes a lot to be able to take this journey of spiritual enlightenment that leads to God consciousness.
And what stops us from reaching those goals?
Most of the time we stop ourselves. And I won't even say that it's the naysayers. I won't even say it's the negativity of other people, because you can always walk away from that. You can always stop talking to them. You can always not answer your phone. You can always not take a text or an email. So, that's within your control. I would say the biggest thing that stops us from walking in our destiny, living our best life now, walking in purpose, is ourselves. And a lot of times that's from fear. Sometimes it's from us being brainwashed and not knowing that we've been brainwashed. Sometimes it's from us not being knowledgeable enough to know how to, carry out the task at hand. Sometimes we just don't have the knowledge base. And if you don't have the knowledge base, you just don't have the knowledge base. But here's the thing about it. If you don't have it, you can still get it.
Okay. And let's talk about this one last topic. Good is the enemy of great.
That's one of my favorites. If you always settle, because when we talk about good's not great. So why would you want to be good? So a lot of people say, and I really do not like to hear people say it, but I'll be talking to them and they're telling me this and they're telling me that, but they're really, really unhappy. And I'll say, well, okay, is there anything that you would like to change? And they'll say, no, I'm good. But you just told me how unhappy you were. Now you're telling me, no, I'm good. So are you really good, or are you not good? And so a lot of times people will just settle for good, not even realizing that they have greater on the inside of them. So that's the reason why good is the enemy of great, because good makes you settle. Good allows you just to stop before you get to the finish mark. Good says, okay, at least I started out in the race. Good says, at least I got halfway through the race. And good says, at least I finished. It don't matter what number I finish, at least I finished. But great is greater. So you don't want to settle for good because good is selling. You always want the greater. So, in order to operate in greater, you've got to let go of the good and become great.
All right. And in closing, can you give us one of your favorite positive affirmations?
My favorite positive affirmation, because it gets me going, it keeps me pumped up, is I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. It reminds me that I'm on a journey to God consciousness. It reminds me that I have power on the inside of me. It reminds me that I've been given the power of attorney to use the power that's on the inside of me, and that it's up to me whether I use the power or not. It's a reminder when things are rough, or when I'm having a rough time, or when it seems like nothing is going the way I need it to. When I tell myself I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me, it lets me know, first of all, the strength isn't coming from me. Second of all, I can do all things. So this little minor affliction, this stumbling block, this thing that I'm facing right now is a minor affliction. I can get past this. I can go from good, I can go from right where I am to greater, and I can be the greatest. And so that's what that particular, and it's actually a Bible scripture, and it's a positive affirmation, but that's what works best for me, because a lot of times I'll hit a brick wall, or I'll get knocked down, or nothing's going right, or I'm just really, really frustrated, and then I will remember, hey, I can do all things through Christ Jesus who strengthens me. It gives me power. I'll start to smile, and you'll see me get a little pep in my step, and you'll see, hey, she's ready to run on a little while longer. But, I tell people all the time, get something that works for you. Get a phrase. It doesn't have to come from the Bible. There's other positive affirmations. You can look up positive affirmations, and it'll give you over 300 positive affirmations. A lot of the ones I use are biblical. I like to remind myself that I'm a part of a royal priesthood. I like to remind myself that God chose me. I didn't choose him. He chose me. So all of that is positive for me, and it allows me to, just get the strength to go on. So I encourage all of you, get you, whether it's a Bible scripture, whether it's a quote you read in the book, maybe it's something off the wall but you heard me say, but get you something that when you're down and out, you can say that, and it'll help you just to move on until you see your change. Because change is coming. It's just a matter of time. You are the change. So if you're seeking change, remember I tell you all the time, that knock and the door shall be open. Seek and ye shall find. What you're seeking is seeking you. So it's on the inside of you wanting to come out. So all you have to do is just simply continue seeking, continue moving, use a positive affirmation to help you through the day. But you know what? Whatever you do, just don't quit and don't give up. Know that we're on a journey to God consciousness, and we're going to make it.
All right. That concludes our You Gonna Learn Today podcast. Topic today was body, mind, and spirit. You can catch us on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 p.m. Hopefully you learned something today. You're going to learn today.